good afternoon and good morning, everyone. It's really my pleasure this afternoon to share what sport is doing in this area here at Blue Oval City. And again, before I start, I want to thank the DOE for the partnership. We were one of the early partners, and we really enjoyed this partnership. And we look forward for many years of learning and participating here in events like this. Next slide, please. So I'm going to start here to just give a little bit of a background, and I'm really focusing on the lower left corner of what we've accomplished as a company and also what's our objective in this area. So we've announced externally that we want to achieve carbon neutrality by 2050 and get to the 100% locally sourced carbon-free electricity by 2035. So those are two key objectives. I do have a sense that they are going to be accelerated. We already announced that Europe will be carbon-free for all of our manufacturing by 2035. So we already have an accelerated plan in Europe. And as we build something new, as we do things in the future, we have to really think even though it's 2035 or especially 2050, even though it's far away, but you really need to plan today to set the building blocks to get there. Next slide, please. So I want to talk today about Blue Oval City. And for some of you who have not heard about Blue Oval City, it's about 3,000 acre site in Southwest Tennessee. And that site really represents an important part of the future of Ford Motor Company. The site it's under construction right now. It will we're constructing a large battery plant, an assembly plant that will be producing a variants of our electric vehicles and a supplier park. This site is really part of the future of Ford Motor Company. It's for us was really important to find a strategic location, and also for us it was really important to as we design and build this facility have the future in mind. We know today for a manufacturing facility is very challenging to hit carbon neutrality, but you could design for it. The idea here is what can we do today as technology evolves to be able to get to carbon neutrality. And it's very important for us getting to carbon neutrality in a cost-effective manner. We want to do it in a way that it's right for the environment and it's right for the business. So we sat in and said, okay, what can be done on this site to really deliver a central utilities that is going to be really the central utility of the future. So what you see on the screen here, it's a schematic of how we envisioned, and this is really the slide I used to sell this idea to our management. We have on the left-hand side, you see a battery plant, and the center is what we envisioned our central utility plant to be, and on the right-hand side, you see the assembly plant. So we envisioned to be able to have a central utility with components from the CHP, use heat recovery chillers, and serve all the utilities to those two facilities. And we also happen to be on the site on one of the largest aquifer in the country, in the US. And we said, okay, how can we also leverage the geothermal energy on site? And we work with Oak Ridge National Lab. Will continue to work to really maximize the efficiency and what technology we use to deliver a geothermal component. So that was a vision. We started working here about a little over a year and a half ago, and we went to management. Next slide, please. To say, okay, and this is on the left-hand side is what a traditional utility facility would look like. On the right-hand side, what we envision to be really how we envision the future of facilities. So the one big thing we were thinking of, okay, today, if I go in and build a traditional plant, the most cost-effective way in a manufacturing facility is to use gas to heat the facility. But also the challenge of when you use gas to heat the facility, conversion in the future or really getting to this carbon neutrality is going to be very challenging. It's going to be very difficult to find an alternative fuel that is going to be distributed around the plant. So one big thing for us was, okay, how can we minimize gas, but also how can we centralize where gas is being used? So that's kind of, if you look on the left-hand side, this is a big really item of we moved away from natural gas in heating the building. And then also we looked at centralization really gives us that opportunity to leverage heat recovery. We really an interesting set that we have between the battery and the assembly plant. Battery plants tend to use significant amount of chilled water all year around. So we look to say, how can I leverage that with the assembly plant? So we're taking all the heat output from all the chillers that we'll be using in the winter and heating the assembly plant. So that really gives us that opportunity to heat the assembly plant without using any natural gas. And geothermal is really another element. It helps us in the water reduction and also really another form of energy storage. Next slide, please. So this slide is intended to really give you a very high level of what is the energy footprint in a typical assembly plant. And this really would apply probably to any of the other OEMs in the automotive industry. And this is on a high level in our climate. You look, starting with the pie chart on the left-hand side, where our energy in a carbon footprint, 70% is the indirect, which is electricity, and 30% is direct, which is natural gas. And when you go into the middle pie chart, you have almost 50-50. One half is used for building and half is used for our paint process. So what we're able to achieve at Blue Oval City is we're really getting rid of 75%, 48 and 26 of the carbon footprint of the facility. So we're launching from day one, the building is carbon neutral, but we still have natural gas use in the paint process, that 26%. But also that 26% is centralized in a couple of areas. And the big benefit of that is we're able to, as new technologies come, as carbon capture comes, as alternative fuels, we are able to attack this 26% and to get us to this carbon neutral at the assembly plant. And on the 70%, which is on the electricity side, we are working through with our local utility in Tennessee, TVA, to really work out how can we get to the 100% carbon neutral electricity. And one important element that Ford has used in philosophy in terms of meeting our carbon neutrality on electricity, we are really keen on whatever we do is local. And one good example of that, this last summer, we announced the largest ever contract between a utility and a customer to build a significant size solar array here in the state of Michigan to turn all of our facilities in Michigan on the electricity side to carbon neutral. So we'll be hitting that objective in Michigan by 2025. Next slide, please. So this summarizes kind of some of the ideas I just spoke a little bit about. So one important element to hit carbon neutrality is how I can minimize and centralize the use of natural gas. We have, as just really left with few areas. where for the battery plant, we have hot oil that requires gas. So we use gas over there. We have thermal requirement for the paint ovens, for the RTOs, and we have a cogeneration facility on site. And the cogen is sized to meet the steam load on site. There is a significant steam demand that's being used all year around. So that really helps us to get to this road to carbon neutrality. And we've maximized the heat recovery with using 100% electricity, and we're leveraging the geothermal technology. And then on that, as we build the facility, we're looking to really create this microgrid. We're producing electric vehicles. We're going to try to leverage batteries from those electric vehicles for some kind of an energy storage. We have a 10 million gallon tank of thermal, of chilled water storage on site that's going to help us for peak demand and also reduce the upfront investment. And we're looking at solar array and multiple other ideas for us to really build that kind of a microgrid, not necessarily to be off-grid, but really to be able to help manage the electric demand on site. Okay, next slide, please. So this summarizes what benefits we're getting out of the system we're designing. One interesting idea as we were in the process of permitting is when we looked at says, okay, I'm getting rid of all the gas going to all their handling equipment. That makes NOx, dealing with NOx a whole lot easier, and really helps us as we expand the facility in the future from a permitting perspective, because I am concentrating that emission to a central location, and it makes it a whole lot easier to manage emissions versus having natural gas all over the site. We are reducing our carbon footprint by 90,000 tons annually on this site. We're aiming for the 100% zero carbon electricity. And we're also, through the use of geothermal and the heat pumps we are reducing 52 million gallons of water annually. So we're really proud in the approach we're having here and what we're delivering to the environment, and also setting ourselves up to be able to be carbon neutral on the long term. Next slide, please. So this is the actual facility. So this is where a year of work gets us to start construction here. We started just about 3-4 weeks ago. This is the footprint of the facility. You see on the right-hand side, the 10 million gallon thermal energy storage. You still see some cooling towers. You have the main central utility plant in the center here on, going to the left. That's where the cogen facility and the geothermal feed is just right outside the land. And we have a modular compressed air plant also located on the site. So just, I wanted to share what I could share publicly here. I'm happy to answer some questions to the best I can. And the one point I want to make across is it's really important for us when we go on a journey like this, it has to make business sense. But also, you cannot go to a journey like this and to say, in reality, natural gas is the cheapest way to heat a facility. There was no question that if we're looking at the first cost option, we wouldn't deviate from doing natural gas. But we were able to work with our management with the vision that when you look at it at a 20-year plan, that this thing start to make business sense. So it's a marginal business case, but yet it is not adding cost to the company. And at the same time, we're able to do the right thing for the environment and really set ourselves up to deliver on the long term a carbon neutral facility. So with that, I would like to open the floor for questions.